Dawn Weatherwax from Sports Nutrition to Go, sports dietitian. And this is Rita, and this is an awesome segment that we're doing for the 101 cooking, because this is definitely your expertise. You're an expert, but this is what you love, 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 is the spices and the herbs. So today, what we're going to discuss, before we go into that, give us a little bit of background, and your background on the herbs and spices, and your...
My
what
little
you've
book.
done? Yeah, she's done a book. I have to make sure we let you
Well, okay. Well, I grew up, Dawn, in a big family, 9 kids, and a mom who cooked with herbs and spices from day one. And there's a video on my website about eating.com about container gardening, because Mom put all her herbs and spices in a big black iron kettle.
Really? A big black iron
yes,
kettle?
because we had no room in our little yard.
Huh.
So I come... the love of herbs and spices comes naturally to me.
Okay.
And she was a health food nut long before the term was coined. And what I learned early on is that you can use herbs and spices to spice up your food, and then you lower the fat, cholesterol, and sodium.
And you don't need all that stuff because the palate in it just strikes the palate. It tastes great, and you're going, I don't need to add all that other stuff. Why?
That's exactly right. And there's not an herb on this planet that doesn't do you good health-wise, too.
Okay.
So, yes, I'm a certified herbalist, and my love is the culinary herbs and the medicinal aspects.
Okay.
What we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about what I feel are the essential herbs and spices.
That you need when you go and open that kitchen up, or 101.
That's right.
Okay.
Herb 101. Everything you wanted to know about herbs and spices, but were afraid to ask. Okay, well, let's start basic, salt and pepper. Salt is okay as long as you don't overdo. Now, what I like to do is I like to use sea salt. The reason is it's regular salt, but it's harvested from the sea, so it has minerals. And to my palate, sea salt will have more of a flavor, so you use less. And when we think about pepper, you get an explosion of flavor. I'm just going to do this right here, see if that'll work. This is sea salt. When you grind it yourself, you're going to use a lot less because the flavor is so much better. And now pepper, freshly ground pepper. I don't know if you can see this on top of the salt. You really should get freshly ground pepper, whole peppercorns, and grind them yourself if you can. Now, say you just don't have the budget and you're just buying it in the jar. Then what you're going to do, we're going to talk about the snip test. If you buy your herbs already ground, and by the way, when you buy herbs that are dry, think they're probably at least 2 years old, unless you buy them from a special purveyor. The reason is it takes a year to grow and harvest, and sometimes a year to get to the retailer.
Really?
So,
that long?
Maybe. That's a general rule of thumb. So this is pepper, cayenne pepper. Now, I want you to back up because this is pepper. Do the sniff test. Can you smell the pepper?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can smell that.
Okay, that's your test.
Okay.
You
can't smell it.
If you can't smell it, toss it out. It's not going to flavor your food. You're not going to get any health benefit at all. So do the sniff test if you buy your herbs dry. And we're going to talk about now is just some of the essential herbs. Well, let's start with garlic. You know, garlic, is it an herb? Is it a spice?
It's anti-inflammatory. There's great things about garlic.
Well, garlic, too, you know, it's good for anything cardiovascular.
Yep.
And fresh garlic's always best, but when you're in an apartment, you can buy the jarred garlic. You can even buy garlic powder.
Okay.
And garlic will lessen the amount of salt you use because it's very flavorful. This is just chopped garlic, and I use, obviously, a lot of it. So garlic, it's really, really wonderful. Punches up flavor. Now, when you cook with it, if you saute it in a little oil, and it'll bring out all the nutrients. But cook it over low heat. You don't want it to burn because it's got a lot of sugar in it, and that'll be nasty. And one other tip, when you chop fresh garlic, what you need to do is let it sit out about 5 minutes or so before you put it in your pan, and all those good nutrients evolve out of that. Let it have time to bloom, sort of. Okay. Bay leaf. Bay leaf, think of soups and stews. It is a salt buster. Now these are, when you, it rounds out the flavor of other foods, but also when you add bay, you will not need to add so much salt. It's really wonderful. This is actually a fresh bay leaf. Isn't that pretty? And this is a dry. And always count the number of leaves that you put in your soup and stew, because you don't want to have that in your bowl of soup and you swallow that. It'd be very, very bad. you would swallow it and maybe hurt your tummy. So bay leaf.
Really? So if you accidentally do that, it will hurt your stomach?
Well,
it's too strong?
No. If you would, it's sharp. I mean, think if you try to swallow this.
Got
and
it.
you can also break it up too. But always before you serve your...
And you get it, you can buy it dry. I don't know if I've ever
Yeah.
looked for it dry. And you store it in a jar?
Yeah, no, this is from my bay tree. Let me back up.
Okay.
You can buy it dry in a jar,
Dry
and
in
it
a
will
jar.
be either in leaf form or ground up.
Oh, got it.
So,
Okay.
and this is the most common. So you put 1 leaf or 2 leaves in your soups and stews, put it in the beginning of cooking time, and then make sure you just pull it out before you serve it. That's all.
Okay.
Okay? Basil. We used to call this hobbit. That's a Lebanese word for basil. Lots of potassium and iron. Smells like cloves and licorice. Isn't that wonderful?
Basil.
Now, smell this. This is my own dry basil, but you can smell that basil.
Oh, you can.
Okay, again, do the sniff test. Great with soups and stews, vegetables, tomato dishes. Use fresh basil the last 5 minutes of cooking time, dry about 10 minutes before you're ready to take the food out. And here's one. This is a spice, not an herb. We call this cumin. It's cumin. When you were talking about Indian food, very warming and very good. Lots of good nutrients. Anything Asian, Southwestern Indian will have cumin in it. It's delicious with chilies and, again, soups and stews. It's wonderful with pork and as a rub on meats. You'll find it in Southwestern seasonings as well. And here's one. Let's get the oregano out of here. Oregano, oh my gosh, it's a very good herb. It's anti-inflammatory, just like its cousin marjoram. It's good for colds and flus. And it's the Italian herb. And when you buy oregano, you can smell it. You'll smell pizza. Smell that?
Yeah, and you mentioned it. Oregano, I always think Italian.
Yes. And it's easy to grow, but it's a wonderful herb that you use dry. As a matter of fact, most people prefer it dry over fresh. Another essential herb, I think, is sage. We think of sage stuffings, but sage, oh, this smells so good. Sage on its own, it's called sage because it's good for your mind. But sage is great.
Maybe I should carry this around and
I
sniff
just
it
chew it. And that's exactly right. Anyway, it's great with bean dishes.
Okay.
And it helps you digest foods, and it helps move fat through your body, and it's a beautiful plant. So dry or fresh, sage is great.
Okay.
And it's one of my essential herbs. And one that everybody uses, rosemary. You know, rosemary for remembrance. Is it good for your memory? Yes, it is. It smells real piney. And so this rosemary, smell this. That smells very good. And they're called needles for a reason, because in your food, you either have to chop those up or use the whole sprigs and pull them out, because you don't want to get this stuck in your throat. So, very strong, pine-scented, wonderful antioxidants. There's a tea that athletes make with mint and rosemary for strength and endurance. Really wonderful. A little goes a long way. And when you cook with fresh rosemary, you can put it in the first 15 minutes, pull it out because it can get rather strong.
Okay.
All right, now thyme. Thyme is, to me, one of the essential herbs. It's very antibacterial, and it's actually like a medicine chest in a plant. And thyme, smell this, it is wonderful with vegetables, on meats. It perks up things like squash or sautés, stir fries. It's really, really wonderful. And it loves hot weather. And these little sprigs, you can actually put the whole sprig in a soup or stew, and all the little leaves will fall off, and you just pull the stem out. But thyme is an essential herb because, again, it helps reduce the amount of salt that you're going to use and fat. It's really wonderful. So, and if you like thyme and rosemary and oregano, but you don't have a lot of space, just go for the Italian blend. It's got all that stuff in it. It's dry. It's wonderful. Okay. So those are the essential. Oh, one more, dill. Now I don't know if I would call this essential or not.
Okay.
Because dill, it's great in salads and seafood. It has a lot of calcium, but I want to show folks this because there's dill weed, which means the leaf of the dill, like this. Let's see. And then there's the dill seed.
Right.
And the seed, of course, is the seed.
And which do you prefer? They're also different.
Depends. The seed's not going to, blend as well. It's very strong, but it's very delicious. The dill weed you can just chop up and you'll never know it's in there except for the flavor. So whatever you prefer. But that's the difference. If it says dill weed, it means the leaf.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're talking, when you talk about spicy things, chili powder, fajita seasoning, southwestern, taco, anything that looks red, whether it's chili powder or taco seasoning, cayenne pepper, you want to store the red spices in the refrigerator or freezer.
No.
The reason is they have a lot of oil content and sometimes they go rancid. And store your spices and herbs away from heat and light.
Okay.
That will kill them, kill them, kill them.
Okay.
And since you're a baker, even if you cook, I mean, I do a lot of Lebanese food. Cinnamon we use in lots of savory dishes. Cinnamon is a very warming spice, and you know, oh, that smells so good. It helps stabilize your blood sugar.
Yeah.
It's really a wonderful spice. And buy your spices and herbs in small amounts, unless you use them a lot like me, because they will just lose their potency after a while.
Okay.
So cinnamon's definitely
So
an
one-on-one
essential.
kitchen, you might get the small ones like this.
Absolutely, yeah.
To start off
yeah.
with. Okay.
Don't buy the big generics, even though the big like number 8 bottles or whatever, they're less expensive. They're not going to do you any good once they go, you know, they lose their potency.
Got it.
And then you mentioned vanilla.
Yes.
Always use real vanilla. It's a little more
Okay.
expensive, but the flavor carries
And what's the
through.
difference between vanilla extract and the real vanilla?
Well, it is vanilla beans. Vanilla extract is made from vanilla beans. And you can buy vanilla, or I make my own homemade. And this is nice. It has vodka and vanilla beans, and it smells good.
It has
really
vodka
good.
and
I
vanilla
know.
beans.
Yeah, you need the alcohol. All for the most part.
Why is that? And that's standard, right?
Yeah,
It's not
they
just-
they infuse the beans in alcohol to extract the flavor. And so you get double vanilla, which means there's twice as many beans per alcohol. It's really nice, really good. This never gets in the refrigerator. This gets like wine. It gets better with age. Don't ever refrigerate your extracts. Almond, vanilla, don't refrigerate them.
Okay.
And then last but not least, baking powder. Look on the bottom. It says best if used by May of 2011.
Okay.
Tip. Once you open that, it's good
Okay.
for about a year. So I put May 10th. And how you know, say it's been in the cupboard a long time and you're not sure, just put a spoonful in some water.
Okay.
It should bubble up.
Huh.
If it doesn't bubble up and foam, then
Right.
it won't leaven. So just toss
There
it
you
out.
go. There's the bubbles.
There you go. So other things you could do, you know, we talk about curries. Let's move this. Curry's delicious. It's a blend of spices and herbs used a lot in Indian cooking, and one of the basic ingredients is turmeric or turmeric. Anti-inflammatory. It's wonderful for your joints. It's being used a lot in herbal medicine. A little goes a long way, as you said.
Yes.
With the curry powders
Okay.
and such. So,
Great.
I think that's our Spice and Herb 101 for your first kitchen. And this smells great.
Oh, I'm ready to eat some stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, and so just look at our list on our guide as well to get a list of everything that we've talked about today. You guys have a great and healthy day.